Yo, welcome back to the channel. Kamusta sa inyong lahat?
Ahoy, me hearties! The captain of energy regeneration himself, Brant, is setting sail onto your account.
But there's a problem. A big problem. You see, unlike other characters who can survive without their signature weapon, Brant's kit seems to beg for his shiny, tailor-made, overly engineered, completely essential weapon. And that raises the question, is Brant's weapon design an absolute disaster? Or is the community just allergic to effort? Is it a case of bad design, or is it just another episode of the player base refuses to read how characters work and suffers the consequences? Well, let's find out. Brant's weapon is basically a cheat code. You slap it on him and boom, he perfectly reaches over 250 energy recharge with one elite energy recharge echo. Plus, you get that extra 30% attribute damage with the other 3 costs being a fusion damage bonus. So, minimal brain power required. Congratulations, you have now achieved the optimal Brandt experience with very little hassle. But what if you don't have his weapon? Well, that's where things get a little tricky. Because in order to reach the required energy recharge, you need to have perfectly rolled echo pieces with energy recharge and crit stat sub rolls. And when I say perfectly rolled, I mean in gacha terms, it's like sacrificing your soul and your sanity to the RNG gods for approximately 7 weeks straight. That's really miserable. So, what do you have to do in order to get the optimal energy regen for Brandt without having to sell your kidneys? Equip Brandt with the Tide-Breaking Courage 5 set, but instead of 1 ER and 1 fusion damage bonus, you will need 2 energy regen 3 cost echoes. You have 4 choices for an alternative weapon though, which is great. Emerald of Genesis will give you 26% ER. The Sword of the Voyager will give you 32% ER. Overture will give you 52% ER. And the upcoming ER 4-star weapon will give off 38% ER. There are ways to still get around that desired ER amount, but you will have to sacrifice something in return. And that would be your 3-cost fusion damage bonus. It's not the best way to build Brandt, because his healing and shielding scales off energy regen, and his attack stats blows up with energy regen as well. So, not having enough energy regen only means that you're gonna lose on some heals, some shields, and some damage points. And without his best in slot weapon, you'll end up sacrificing fusion damage bonus for the sake of more energy regen. Let's face it, Brandt is a resonator that is highly dependent on his best in slot weapon. The sad thing is, his weapon is not some all-purpose jack-of-all-trades tool. It's laser-focused, designed exclusively for him. Which is great for him, but tragic for its resale value. However, on the bright side, the weapon banner is guaranteed, so it's not like you're staring into the void hoping to win a 50-50 against disappointment. But here's the real issue. Brandt is hard to build. Even if you do have his weapon, you need energy recharge, crit stats, basic attack boosts, and fusion damage boosts. It's like trying to assemble an IKEA furniture while the instruction manual is in ancient Chinese. So, is the weapon the problem? Or is the entire build process just a ridiculous pain? Or maybe this is some way for Kuru Games to increase sales for Brandt by ensuring that his weapon is designed perfectly just for him. Of course, we won't know the answer to that until he actually releases, which is in a couple of days. Another hurdle for players, especially the new ones, is maximizing Brant's potential. He is very dependent on fusion-based teammates, especially Chang Li, and other high-performing fusion resonators. His outro buffs are specifically designed to empower fusion units. He doesn't have coordinated damage. And this means that if your team lacks a strong fusion presence, whether it's Chang Li, Encore, Mortifi, or even Shisha, you're essentially leaving a large portion of his utility on the table. This creates a restrictive team building dilemma. Brandt is an excellent support but only under the right conditions. For players with access to top-tier fusion resonators, Brandt seamlessly integrates into their setups, amplifying their damage and effectiveness. But for those without, his value becomes a little questionable. While he can still function in non-fusion teams, his buffs become noticeably weaker, making him feel like a square peg in a round hole. Viable but far from optimal. Fortunately, the future looks promising for fusion mains. Chang Li is conveniently rerunning alongside Brandt, ensuring that players who missed her initial release have another shot. Additionally, there are rumors that suggest that a limited 5-star fusion DPS might be on the horizon, which could further cement fusion as a dominant element. If that happens, Brandt's stock will only rise, making him an even more valuable pick in the long run. At the end of the day, Brandt is a solid unit. He's not gonna break the game, but he's also not some tragic failure of a character as some content creators claim him to be. If you like Brandt, then by all means please pull for him, but just know this, you're either rolling for his weapon or preparing to suffer through an excruciating long echo grind. There is probably no in between. And do note that there are 4-star budget-friendly options for his weapon. But if you want the smoothest, strongest Brand experience, you better get his weapon. No questions asked. And if you're still undecided, just ask this to yourself. Just this one thing. Do you want to be a swashbuckling buccaneer? Yep, just as I thought. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Maraming salamat po. And if you enjoyed this video and find it useful in some ways, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and also hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future contents from me. Also, if you don't mind leaving a comment, leave it down below. I'll read it. Idiot posts will be deleted, but those that make sense and are intelligible will be kept. I'll reply to them. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.